The signal in the storm. The sky was red. A strong storm moved across the desert land of planet. Chorus 7, wind howled like wild animals, and sand flew in the air like fire. It was not a place where life could survive, but John was still out there. He was a human explorer, the last one on this part of the planet. His small outpost was a few miles away. He was returning from a mineral scan mission when his scanner beeped. Beep. Beep. He stopped. The storm almost made it impossible to see anything, but the signal was clear. Emergency beacon. 900 meters. ETH, the scanner said. Emergency. John spoke to himself. No ships are supposed to be out here. The beacon signal was old, the kind used by escape pods. He had two options. Return to base before the storm got worse, or follow the signal. John made his choice. He turned east and started walking. Fighting the storm was not easy. Sand hit his suit hard. He could barely see more than 5 steps ahead. But he kept moving. After 20 minutes, he saw something, a metal shape, half buried in the sand. It was an escape pod, alien design. The door was cracked. Smoke rose from its sides. Its body was scratched and burned, like it had fallen from orbit. John pulled his gun and moved closer. Inside the pod, through the dusty glass, he saw something. Someone. A woman, but not human. Her skin was light blue, almost glowing. Her eyes were closed. She looked injured, but breathing. Her stomach was large. She was pregnant. John's heart beat faster. He opened the pod. The alien woman didn't move. He checked her pulse. Weak, but alive. Suddenly, his scanner beeped again. Not the beacon this time. A movement alert. He turned. The sand behind him moved. Growl. John raised his weapon from behind the rocks. Something crawled out. A creature, large and dark, with 4 arms and glowing red eyes. It looked at John, then at the pod. Not good, John said. The creature roared and jumped. John fired. 1 shot missed. Second hit the creature's leg. It screamed but kept coming. John rolled sideways. Shot again, this time in the chest. The creature fell dead. John looked at the pod. The alien woman was still unconscious. He couldn't leave her here. With difficulty, he lifted her in his arms and started walking back through the storm. At the outpost, the wind hit harder, but the door opened as he arrived. Inside, warm lights turned on, scanning both of them. Life form detected. Unknown species. No threat level detected. The computer said. John placed the woman on the medical bed. Machines began scanning her. Stable, but weak. High stress. Birth cycle. Very near. The system said. John looked at her face. Who was she? Why was she here? Hours passed. The storm outside got worse. John tried to rest, but then she woke up. Her eyes opened. Deep, silver color. She stared at him. You came, she whispered. John stepped closer. Who are you? The alien woman winced in pain. My name is Lyra. I ran. They're after me. I had no choice. Who's after you? She touched her stomach. They want the children. Children, she nodded. Twins they are. Special. John looked confused. Why me? Why did the beacon connect to my scanner? Lyra stared at him with tired eyes. Because they chose you. Who? The twins. Before they were born. They knew you. That's not possible, John said. Lyra placed her hand on his. You will understand soon. Suddenly, the base lights flickered. A warning alarm rang. Perimeter breach. Something is outside. John stood up, grabbed his weapon. He looked at Lyra. We're not alone. Outside, through the camera feed, he saw something moving near the walls. Red eyes. Several of them. The lights in John's outpost turned red. Warning. Movement detected. Outside perimeter breached. John stared at the screen. 3 red dots were moving fast on the map. They were closing in. Whatever was out there wasn't friendly. He picked up his rifle and looked at Lyra. She was awake but weak, still lying on the medical bed. Her hands were wrapped around her stomach. The twins were close to being born. They found me, she whispered. The hunters. John moved to the window and peered through the storm. Red sand hit the glass like rain. He couldn't see clearly, just shadows, tall and fast. Who are they? He asked. They are not soldiers, Lyra said. They are something worse. They do not follow rules. They kill what they can't catch. John loaded his rifle. Then they won't catch you. Suddenly, the lights flickered again. A loud bang came from the outer wall. John checked the security screen. One of the creatures was at the door. clawing at the metal with sharp fingers. Another moved toward the roof. John turned on the defense system. A blue energy shield lit up around the base. It would hold for now. He ran to the armory, grabbed a second weapon, and handed it to Lyra. She shook her head. I cannot fight. Not now. John nodded. Then stay hidden. He placed her inside a small medical pod. It had life support and autolock. She would be safe for a little while. The storm outside grew louder. Suddenly, the roof alarm went off. Breach, intruder, inside. John ran to the main hallway. The lights above blinked as something moved in the shadows. He raised his rifle. A tall, dark shape dropped from the ceiling. Its body was lean and armored. Its face was hidden under a black helmet, but its red eyes glowed like fire. It hissed and ran at him. John fired. The bullet hit its chest. Sparks flew. The creature kept running. He dodged just in time. The hunter slammed into the wall. Fast. Strong. John fired again. This time at the leg. The hunter fell to one knee. John kicked it back and shot once more. Direct hit to the head. The hunter fell. Smoke rose from its armor. John breathed hard. But it wasn't over. 2 more alarms rang. Rear entrance breached. Life support damaged. John checked the screen. Another creature was crawling through the vent system. He ran to the backup control room. From behind him, he heard footsteps. Not loud. Careful. Smart. The hunter was not rushing. It was stalking him. John waited near the door, hiding beside the frame. As the hunter entered, John swung a metal rod into its face. The helmet cracked. The creature screamed and grabbed him. Its claws tore into his suit. John fought back, using everything, his fists, elbows, knees. Finally, he slammed its head against the wall. It dropped. Blood, dark blue, spilled. On the floor, John limped toward the medical pod. Inside, Lyra was breathing hard. They are close, she said, voice weak. The babies, they feel it. John placed a hand on the pod. We're not done yet. Suddenly, a small screen turned on. A voice came through. Deep, cold, human. Give us the vessel. We only want what is ours. John stared at the screen. A figure stood inside a dark ship. Its eyes were the same red. Its voice was calm but full of threat. You're not getting her, John said. The voice laughed. Then you will die for something that doesn't belong to you. John shut off the feed. He turned to Lyra. Why me? Why are they afraid of me? Lyra looked into his eyes. Because the children are connected. To you, they chose you. Before their birth. Before memory. John shook his head. That makes no sense. It will, Lyra said. Soon. Outside, the storm began to slow. But the danger didn't. A loud noise shook the base. The main door was finally breaking. John knew he couldn't fight many more. His body was bruised. His ammo was low. He had one option left. He activated the self-defense core. A powerful short-range blast that would disable all nearby enemies. But it would also shut down his systems for 5 minutes. He looked at Lyra. I'm sorry I have to do this. She smiled. They will protect you, just as you protect them. John pressed the button. A bright blue wave exploded from the core. Everything shook. The walls, the floor, the very air around them. The hunters screamed. Then silence, darkness. The power went out. John fell to the floor. He couldn't move, but in the dark, 2 small lights began to glow, floating soft, silver and warm. The twins had arrived. Silence. The blast had ended. The lights were out. The wind had stopped. The storm was gone. Only 2 soft lights glowed in the room, floating, like tiny stars. John opened his eyes. His body hurt. He could not move much, but he could see the lights. One near him, the other beside Lyra. Then he heard something. Not with his ears, but inside his mind. A voice, 2 voices. Don't be afraid. John, we are here. His heart stopped for a second. The voices were calm, warm, like children, but they spoke without sound. He turned his head. Lyra was awake now. She was holding 2 small babies, one in each arm. Their skin was light blue, just like hers, but their eyes, silver, glowing softly. Their little hands moved, but they didn't cry. They simply looked at him. Lyra smiled. They are healthy and awake. John sat up slowly. They spoke to me, but not with words. They speak through thought, Lyra said. Only to those they trust. John stared at the twins. One blinked at him. The other reached out a hand. We know you, said the voice in his mind again. You are our protector. You are our master. John felt cold and warm at the same time. Why do they keep calling me that? Lyra looked at him. Her face was calm, but her eyes held secrets. Because they are not just my children, she said. They are yours too. John froze. What are you talking about? I mean not by blood, she said, but by soul, by energy. Before they were born, before they had form, they chose you. John shook his head. That's not possible. I escaped from my planet, not just to save them. Lyra continued. I was searching for you. I didn't know where, or who you were, but I knew the children would guide me. Why me? She looked at him now, with those silver eyes. Because your presence is ancient. You are more than just a man, John. He stood up, confused. I'm just a scout, a technician. I fix old machines and map empty lands. That's it. The babies watched him closely. Not just a man, said their voice again. We remember you. From the light. From before. The power in the outpost flickered back on, soft lights returned. Alarms were silent now. The hunters outside, gone. Either destroyed or escaped. John walked toward the window. The desert was still. The red sand looked almost beautiful now. Under the quiet sky, he turned to Lyra. You need to tell me everything. She nodded. My people once ruled many worlds. We were powerful, proud, and cruel. We believed no one could match us. Then came the War of Lights. A being from a far world, a human, rose against us. He didn't have weapons. He had something stronger. Connection, will light. John felt his chest tighten. The records say he died, Lyra said. But I don't think he did. I think his spirit, his soul, returned. To me, John asked. Why would that happen? Because the children saw your light. Even before birth, she said. They recognized it. And now, I see it too. John didn't know what to say. The babies floated closer now, still glowing softly. They reached for him. He hesitated, then extended his arms as soon as he touched them. Something happened. He saw flashes, not memories, but visions. A battlefield of stars, alien armies, a tall figure in armor, human, standing alone with light in his hands. He raised his arms, and everything turned white. John gasped and fell to his knees. Lyra rushed to him. They showed you, she whispered. You've seen it now. I don't understand it, John said. You will. Suddenly, the communication panel lit up. A message was coming in. John moved to the console. The signal was weak, but clear. Human outpost, this is Central Colony. We received your distress code. Are you safe? John pressed the reply button. Before he spoke, he looked back at Lyra and the twins. He took a deep breath. This is John Carter. I'm not alone. I have 3 unknown life forms with me. They're peaceful and important. Requesting safe transport and science team. The reply came back after a short pause. Copy that, John. Help is on the way. Lyra walked up beside him. She placed her hand gently on his. What happens now? She asked. John looked out the window at the endless sky. We find answers, he said. And we protect them no matter what comes. The babies floated gently behind him, their light growing brighter. And somewhere, far above the stars, something else was watching. Waiting. The sky above Chorus 7 was calm again. But inside the outpost, John could feel a strange energy. It was not from the machines. It came from the 2 newborn twins, glowing softly as they floated in the air. They were not crying. They were not afraid. They were watching everything, with eyes too wise for babies. Lyra sat on the bed, resting, her arms folded over her lap. Her strength was slowly returning. She looked at the twins, then at John. They are growing fast, she said. Faster than normal. John nodded. He could feel it too. They had been born only hours ago, and yet, they were already moving, floating, and speaking through thought. He turned to the nearest console and began checking the outpost's systems. The blast from the Defense Corps had damaged many systems. Communications were weak. Power was unstable. Then he noticed something new. The scanners were picking up radiation inside the room. But it was not harmful. It was focused. Controlled. He looked at the twins. Are you doing that? He asked softly. The twins turned to him in perfect sync. We are learning, said the voice in his mind. We are adjusting to this world. John stared. You understand machines. We understand everything. One of the twins floated closer to the broken screen on the wall. Its small hand pointed at it. The screen sparked once, then turned back on. John blinked. They fixed it. With their minds. Lyra stood slowly. They carry energy from the core of the universe. Our ancestors feared this power. That is why they want the twins back. Not to protect them, but to control them. John looked at her. Then we won't let that happen. Suddenly the base lights turned red again. A new alarm flashed. Incoming object, high speed. Atmospheric entry detected. John ran to the main screen. A ship, much larger than the first attackers, was entering the planet's orbit. Its design was alien, sharp, and dark, not scouts. A warship. Lyra's face went pale. They've sent the Collector. John had never heard that name before, but it made his chest tighten. What is the Collector? A hunter of lost power, Lyra whispered. It doesn't come to speak, it comes to take and destroy. The twins floated close to John again. Their silver eyes looked directly into his. We will not run. We will stand with you. John reached for his weapon, but then stopped. He looked at the babies. So small, so innocent. And yet, inside them, a light older than anything he had ever known. He didn't need to protect them alone. He needed to believe in them. The warship landed just outside the canyon, sending shockwaves across the sand. The sky turned dark as clouds formed around it. The air was heavy. John stood at the entrance of the outpost with Lyra behind him, the twins floating silently at his side. From the ship, a tall figure stepped out, covered in black armor, with a face like a cold mask. Behind him, drones hovered in the air, ready to attack. I am the Collector, the voice echoed across the land. Give me the children, and you will be spared. John didn't answer. He looked at the twins. They slowly moved forward, just a little. Their glow became brighter. Suddenly, the Collector raised his hand. Drones fired. Bright red lasers rushed toward them. John moved to protect the twins. But before he could reach them, the twins raised their hands. The air shimmered. The lasers froze mid-air, then dissolved like dust. John stared in shock. So did the Collector. The twins spoke together, out loud for the first time. We are not yours. We are light. We are not afraid. Then, a wave of energy burst from them, wide and silent, like wind. The drones crashed to the ground. The sky cleared again. The Collector stumbled back, stunned. John raised his weapon now. Leave, now. The Collector looked at him. You don't understand what they are. I understand enough, John replied. And I'm not alone. Behind him, Lyra stood strong, her eyes glowing like her children's. The Collector took one last look, then stepped back into his ship. It lifted off the ground and vanished into the clouds. Inside the outpost, everything was quiet again. John sat beside the twins. He looked at Lyra. They're not just children, he said. There's something new, something powerful. Lyra nodded. Yes, and they trust you. John looked at the twins. So now what? The twins answered, calm and clear. Now, we learn. Together. And in that moment, John understood. This was not just a rescue. Was the beginning of something greater. The night sky above Cora 7 was not silent anymore. It rumbled. Dozens of ships entered the atmosphere fast, dark and sharp like blades in the sky. They moved in formation. No signals, no warnings. Just one purpose. To take the twins. John stood on top of the outpost, holding a long-range scanner. He watched the ships descend one by one, spreading across the canyon like vultures. He had counted 16. But there could be more. Inside the base, Lyra sat with the twins. They no longer floated. They now walked slowly, speaking softly to each other, like children, yet not. They're coming, Lyra said. John nodded. I know. Too many for us to fight. Then we run. John looked out across the red desert. There's nowhere to run. Not this time. Lyra placed her hand over the twins' heads. They are not ready. They saved us before, John said. They are still learning. If they use their power too much, it could hurt them. John gritted his teeth. Then I'll protect them with everything I have. He walked to the armory and opened the secret panel, one he had never used before. Inside was a case marked Code Omega. He opened it. A combat suit. Old. Human military. Tech. Illegal now, but powerful. He began suiting up, piece by piece. Metal clicked over cloth, and the helmet sealed with a hiss. Outside dust rose. The hunters were landing, tall, armored, and fast. Not like the Collector. These were soldiers, trained, silent, deadly. They moved in groups of 3, scanning the area with glowing eyes. No mercy, no fear. Inside the base, the power flickered again. One of the outer walls cracked. John looked at the camera feed. They're cutting through the defenses. Lyra stood now, her face calm. They won't stop. The twins turned to John. Their silver eyes were filled with something new. Not fear. Not confusion. Clarity. We are ready. John opened the main door. Hot wind rushed in. He stepped outside and raised his voice. I won't let you take them. The hunters didn't speak. They moved in fast. John fired. The first two fell. Sparks flew, but more came fast and smart. One threw an electric net. John jumped aside, rolled, and fired again. They kept coming. One grabbed him. Its claws dug into his armor. John smashed it with the butt of his rifle. Another hit him from the side. He fell, blood in his mouth. The twins stepped out. The sky changed. Their eyes lit up like moons. They raised their small hands. A pulse of light shot forward, not violent, but powerful. The hunters froze in place, as if time had stopped. The twins floated, slowly, side by side. Then one by one, the hunters began to drop their weapons. Their bodies trembled. They looked confused. John crawled to his knees. What's happening? Lyra walked beside him. The twins are reaching inside them. Not to hurt, but to show truth. One hunter screamed and ran. Another fell to his knees. A third dropped dead, not from injury, but from shock. The rest turned and fled, all except one. He was larger than the others. His armor burned with red energy. He stepped forward, unfazed. The commander Lyra whispered. John stood, bleeding but ready. Let them go. The commander didn't answer. He raised his weapon, but before he could fire, the twins moved between them. They glowed like stars now. We are not afraid of you, they said together. The commander fired. The blast hit them, but didn't hurt them. The energy turned into light around them, and vanished into the air. Then the twins raised one hand each. A beam of white light struck the commander. His armor cracked. He dropped to his knees, shaking. His eyes opened wide. He whispered, one word, forgive, and fell. Dead. Silence. Returned. Smoke floated across the sand. John dropped to the ground, exhausted, bleeding. Alive. Lyra held him. The twins floated above, their lights slowly fading back to normal. They're safe, John whispered. Lyra looked into his eyes. You protected them. They protected us. John took off his helmet. His face was pale, tired, but smiling. They're stronger than I ever imagined. They're just beginning, Lyra said. John looked up at the stars. If this is just the beginning, what comes next? The twins answered together. Our journey, and yours. That night, the stars above Chorus 7 seemed brighter than ever, but deep in the blackness of space, something darker had begun to stir. Something. Watching the canyon was quiet again. Burned ships, broken weapons, and silent armor lay across the red sand of Chorus 7. The hunters were gone. The battle was over, but something else had begun. John stood at the edge of the battlefield, staring into the distance. The wind brushed past his armor. Blood had dried on his face. Pain filled his body, but his mind was elsewhere. Twins stood beside him, holding hands. They no longer glowed. Their light had settled, like fire resting in coals. Lyra walked toward them, holding a small, silver device. She had taken it from the commander's armor before the body faded into dust. It's a key, she said, but not to a ship. To something ancient. John raised an eyebrow. What kind of ancient? Lyra pressed the key into her hand. The kind that remembers who you are, even if you don't. 2 hours later, they stood before a stone door carved into the side of a cliff hidden for centuries. Symbols covered the surface. They weren't written in any one language, yet somehow, John could read them. The one who returned shall open the gate. He placed his hand on the stone. It glowed under his fingers. The door opened without sound. Behind it, a deep tunnel led into the mountain, lit by a soft, bluish glow from crystal veins in the rock. They walked in silence. The twins didn't speak, but their eyes moved along the walls, as if they were remembering something. John's footsteps echoed as he walked farther in. Then they reached a chamber, a large room, round like a dome, with a strange device at the center. Part machine, part organic. Floating above it was a glowing orb. Inside the orb, lights moved like galaxies. What is this place? John asked. Lyra looked around. This is the Vault of Echoes. Only ancient souls may enter. Souls that once led, and once fell. John stepped forward. The orb began to pulse. Then a voice filled the room. Welcome, returned one. John froze. The orb shifted. A figure appeared inside a human man in armor. His face hard but kind. He looked exactly like John. Only older. Is that me? John whispered. But Lyra nodded slowly. Yes, a version of you. From long ago. The voice spoke again. You were called many names. Leader, rebel lightbringer. You sacrificed your body to protect life across the stars. Now, your soul has returned in a new shell. To finish what you started. John stepped back. I don't understand. I'm not some hero. I fix things. I survive. The figure replied, you were chosen not because of what you do, but because of who you are. Suddenly, the walls lit up. Images played like memories. A great war in space. A human leading alien armies. Twin stars being born. A betrayal. A fall. Then silence. And now, rebirth. John sank to the ground. His head hurt. Too much. Too fast. Lyra placed her hand on his shoulder. You weren't just a soldier, she said. You were a symbol. And that symbol was never forgotten. The twins came forward. They touched the orb. It opened like a flower. Inside was a sphere of light. It floated into John's chest and entered him. He gasped. He felt everything. The stars. The war. The moment he had given up his past life to save a world he barely knew. He remembered nothing. And yet, he knew it all. He opened his eyes. They glowed faintly. I remember pieces now, he said. And I understand why they fear the twins. They carry your legacy, Lyra said. But not only yours. They are their own light now. John stood up straighter. Then we have work to do. As they left the chamber, the orb dimmed. But before they reached the tunnel, the vault spoke one last time. The darkness has felt your return. It will not wait. Prepare yourselves. Outside, the stars were fading into morning. A soft wind passed across the desert. The twins looked up. Something is coming, they said together. But not just for us. For all life. John turned to Lyra. We can't hide anymore. She nodded. Then let us rise. John smiled for the first time in days. A true smile. They walked down from the cliff together. Man, woman, and two glowing children. Not just survivors. A family. In deep space. Far from Chorus 7, a massive shape moved in the dark. Older than any empire. Hungrier than any army. It had waited for the signal. Now, it had seen the light. And it would come to destroy it. The stars were fading again. Not because of morning, but because something massive was moving through space. A shadow bigger than any planet, older than memory, was coming toward Chorus 7. It had no name, only a purpose, to erase the light. Inside the outpost, John stood in silence, staring at the sky through the open dome. He had seen the vision. He had felt the ancient power return to him. And now, it was time. Lyra stood beside him, holding the twins. They had grown, not in size, but in presence. Their eyes glowed brighter now. Their voices, still soft, now echoed deeper in John's mind. It has awakened. John nodded. Yes. And it's coming for us. The next morning, the ground trembled. Not from warships or soldiers, but from something beneath. An old satellite, deep under Chorus 7, had activated. John, Lyra, and the twins followed the signal to a hidden platform near the northern cliffs. The sand shifted as ancient metal rose. From the earth, a round platform, covered in symbols. Just like the vault. When the twins stepped onto it, it lit up then. A hologram appeared. It showed the object in space. Dark, burning, alive. Lyra's face turned pale. It's not a ship, it's a being. A destroyer. John frowned. A god, no, she said quietly. A grave. The being was called unborn, a forgotten creature made of silence and fear. It had no mouth, but it could consume entire planets in the last age. It had been sealed by a human warrior, the one John used to be. That seal had broken, and the creature was hungry, inside the outpost. John sat with the twins. You stopped the hunters. You scared the collector. But this is something else, he said. The twins looked at him. You are not alone, John. We can help. But this time, you must lead. You are not just a protector. You are the master. John took a deep breath. Then let's finish this. They activated the ancient signal left in the vault. It called out across time and space. An answer came. A golden ship, rising from the deep crust of Chorus 7. Long hidden. Waiting. John stepped aboard. The ship recognized him. The controls lit up. The engines hummed like a sleeping beast, waking after 1,000 years. He turned to Lyra. You don't have to come, she smiled. Yes, I do. He looked at the twins. And you. They floated. Inside, side by side. We were born for this. The ship rose into the sky. Past the clouds, past the orbit, into the black. And there it was. The nullborn. Its body looked like a broken star, jagged, burning, endless. It didn't speak. It simply pulled. Energy. Light. Life. It wanted to consume the twins. It wanted to erase the memory of the warrior who once stopped it. It wanted to end John, inside the ship. The light dimmed. Alarms rang. John stood in front of the central core. His hands gripped the control ring. He felt his heart beat faster. "We won't survive a battle," Lyra said. John didn't blink. "We won't fight it the old way." He turned to the twins. "You said I was more than a man." The twins nodded. "You were a bridge. A light between worlds. Now you must become that light again." John stepped into the core chamber. Walls closed around him, and then silence. A flash, bright, endless. John stood in a place beyond time. A white plain, with stars in the distance. The nullborn rose before him like a wall of fire and black stone. It moved toward him. But John did not run. He remembered everything now. His past life, his choice to fall, his promise to return. He raised his hands, and light poured from him, not to destroy, but to shield. The nullborn struck, again and again, but the light held. Then the twins appeared beside him, their small hands reaching into the void. Their voices echoed like bells. "This ends now." Back on the ship, Lyra watched the stars shake. Then stillness. One final pulse of light spread across space. The nullborn cracked and vanished. Its hunger silenced, its shadow gone. John opened his eyes. He was still inside the chamber, alive, changed. He stepped out. The twins rushed to him, laughing, not in his mind, but out loud. Lyra ran to him and hugged him tight. "You came back," she whispered. John smiled. "I always do." The ship returned to Cora 7. The stars above were calm. The war was over, but the story was just beginning. John stood outside the ship with Lyra and the twins. He looked to the sky, not in fear, but in hope. "I used to wonder why I was here," he said. "Now I know." Lyra asked, "What now?" He smiled. "Now, we build a world worth protecting." And the twins, standing beside him, whispered in unison, "Master has returned."